Well, and we meet again, YouTube. Sir Owen Disney here with AJ, and last time we did this was in July. It's now the middle, actually, yeah, it's the middle of January. I had to make sure we're
Right in the middle of January.
literally right in the middle of January. We're actually a month to the day away from the BAFTAs, and we're the official day for the Oscar nominations as well as the Critics' Choice Awards that are going to be later tonight, the BFCA. So, obviously, we're deep in awards content here on Pop, and that's going to continue, obviously. Now, back in July, we did our video for the first half of the year. And we also did a video about our speculation for what we're going to like for the rest of the year. Now, there was a lot of things that panned out really well. There are a lot of things that kind of fell by the wayside. But the fact remains that everything always changes, right?
There's one movie that was really high on my most anticipated I still haven't seen yet. Old Boy.
Oh, yeah. I had a chance to see Old Boy when I was in Orlando, but obviously I didn't go because kind of the rules are that if there's a movie like that, I'm legitimately not allowed to go to it.
I hear it was totally ruined by studio interference anyway.
Yeah, which is a shame.
Even Brolin said that himself.
Oh, I'll tell you real quick off the top. I'm legitimately uploading the Oscar nomination discussion video right now. So if you see me go down here, it's because I'm basically tapping the iPod so it doesn't stop, because that's how we do things. Because I'm filming on the iPhone 5 again, so yay, I haven't done that in a long time. Now, if you remember how our July video went, it's a little bit less of a cluster than some of these. And I know you guys really like the worst video, because that's on the channel right now, and it's nearly 300 hits on it right now. So that's a big deal. It's awesome. Thank you guys and girls out there for doing that. Now, this is how it works here. We're going to be talking about our honorable mentions first, because obviously we did the dishonorable mentions for the worst, but this is our honorable mentions. We both have 3, and then we're going to go into our list back and forth to determine our top 10 of 2013. And I said that we weren't going to start this video until after we have seen Her, Inside Llewyn Davis, and Nebraska. We have now watched those, so those are now in the consideration for both of our lists. I'm not saying they're going to make them, I'm saying they can be considered now. So, we've pretty much seen everything we have seen everything nominated for Best Picture. We have seen everything that has potential chance to win anything, so we're good on that.
Except The Wind Rises.
Yeah, The Wind Rises is kind of hanging over our head like an albatross right now.
Technically, its official release date in America is not till the end of February.
It's the end of February. Mm-hmm.
Whatever.
So, this is how we start here. As AJ's going to give his honorable mention, and I'll give mine, and then he'll give his, and I'll give mine, and so on and so forth, and we'll go all the way to our top 10.
Are we doing honorable mentions all at once, or?
I'll leave it up to you in this case.
We might as well.
Okay. So we're going to talk about 3 honorable mentions. AJ only had 1, apparently. And
I added 2.
And I was like, yeah, we need 3, because I wrote down 3. Actually, I need 5, to be totally honest, but we don't want to go that far, so.
It starts to lose its prestige after a while, you know.
Yeah, just like running 10 Best Picture nominees.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right, AJ, your honorable mentions for 2013.
I'm going to go ahead and say these are in order of quality. So really, it's like having a top 13.
Okay.
So the first I'm going to give you would be like 13 and then 12 and 11.
Okay. I can do that too.
All right. So my first honorable mention is Stoker.
Yeah.
Which is Chandler Park's movie that's basically a very, very, very loose remake of Shadow of a Doubt by Hitchcock. And it is this awesomely spectacular, creepy as fuck horror thriller.
It's very unnerving to sit through, too.
Yeah, it's really,
and in the good way, not in a bad way.
Yeah, it's a rush.
Yes.
For sure.
Stoker was awesome.
So yeah, be sure to check out Stoker if you can find it. It's on DVD. It's been on DVD for a while now.
I'd say so.
Call from toll-free call.
That person won't stop calling, by the way. And I don't answer the phone here, so yeah, who cares? Continue.
Toll-free call.
My second.
Call from toll-free call.
Get the hint. Dummy.
Okay. So, I accidentally made a pun kind of leading into this, and I didn't mean to.
Oh, boy.
My second honorable mention, which I guess would technically be number 12, is Rush.
Yes. I figured it would be somewhere on your list.
Because I just said Stoker with a Rush.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't mean to do Rush is this fantastic movie that's really poorly advertised because
Yes.
a lot of people expect this hardcore racing movie in the style of... I don't even know an example.
Mhm.
But it's kind of like if Days of Thunder was actually good
I like Days of Thunder.
and had really great acting and a really great rivalry story. Like, normally they just kind of... it manages to avoid cliches, and some people thought the pacing was a little off. Like, it's kind of weird how the Olivia Wilde character is almost completely irrelevant.
Yeah.
Like, he meets her, and then the next scene they're married. But not like I thought the whole movie just went really well, and Daniel Bruhl is fucking amazing.
Yes, he is.
I'm still shedding tears over his Oscar snub. And it's just a really because it's not just about the rivalry, it's also about how they also kind of need each other.
Yeah, definitely.
And just everything about this movie works.
And the action scenes that are in the movie are shot very well. All the racing scenes are phenomenally done.
Obviously, it's Ron Howard.
Yeah.
And Ron Howard's like, car movies are like his roots.
Yeah.
So, and my honorable mention that just barely didn't make the list is Out of the Furnace.
Yeah, I figured that was coming.
This is, like I said, this is one of those movies that's great because sometimes when you watch a movie and you think it's good, it either grows great in your mind or you kind of think maybe
Kind
it
of
wasn't
falls
that
off.
great.
Yeah.
This movie I've only seen it the one time, but it just gets better every time I think about it. And it's this bleak, gritty, hopeless
To say the least.
But everything, it's got a big cast list and everybody is like to the point of almost the best they've ever been. Almost everybody in the movie. And it's really dark and violent, but very, very effective. And very... Overall, a lot of people said they didn't leave very satisfied. I felt satisfied. I mean, the last shot is very controversial and doesn't really make a lot of sense.
No.
And doesn't really... Nobody really knows what it means still.
Yeah, someone actually asked me what my opinion of it was, and I was like, honestly, I think it's just draw your own conclusion.
But regardless of that, I left the movie pretty satisfied, even if it's dark and depressing.
The cast is amazing in it, too.
Yeah, so, yeah.
It was a nice year for Christian Bale.
It was.
And deservingly so. So you would say, in that case, that Out of the Furnace would be your number 11?
Yes.
Okay, so basically we're going from, 13 to 11, technically?
I guess.
Okay, that's what we'll do in this case. My first honorable mention is a movie that's also grown more and more in my head since day one, and obviously it was something I was going to put on this list from day one as well, because it was just the right mixture at the right time. I think everything works about it, even though a lot of people seem to disagree with me, even though it did get quite a few nominations when we got the Oscar nominations. My first honorable mention is The Great Gatsby. And I think the music works really well. I think DiCaprio is amazing in it. I love Carrie in it, obviously. And Joel Edgerton is a really good bad guy. Really good bad guy. And Tobey Maguire's really good in it, too. I think Lerman's direction works. I think the music works. I think everything fits. And it's weird because somebody was saying the other day, actually, that like The Wolf of Wall Street, in essence, is like a modern day story or modern day retelling. Like, obviously it's not the same story, but it's like a modern day retelling of Gatsby, which is an interesting way to look at it.
I don't really see it, but
I mean, you kind of have to cross the T's and dot the lowercase J's in order to get it. But I mean, it does somewhat make sense if you really think about it. So Decap's definitely on my list for sure. If I had to pick the next honorable mention, I'd have to go with Spectacular Now. Personally, when it comes down to it, it's one of my favorite movies of the year. It just barely missed the last. Actually, the movie that was in number 10 bumped it out, honestly, because it was on this list till just like a day ago, and then I changed my mind. Miles Teller and Shailene Woodley, just incredible. Spectacular, I know, would be saying that. I don't like to do that, but then again, there were brilliant performances, and my personal lineups for this year, the movie and both acting performances are nominated for sure. Obviously, if you want us to tell you guys our personal lineups for the year, we can do that, but that was just like a little into mine. I'm sure if AJ wanted to do it, we can. Just missing out of the top 10 is something that I know you're going to say when you hear this list, Owen, this is a lot about the last half of the year. And I was like, well, yeah, but there was a couple things that did stick with me throughout the year. So I guess you would say my honorable mention, the one that barely missed the top 10, is Inside Llewyn Davis. I really like this movie a lot. I love the Coen brothers. Oscar Isaac is amazing in this movie. I think the supporting cast are phenomenal, too. I mean, obviously I love Justin Timberlake. He's great in everything he does. Obviously, big surprise, I love Carrie in the movie. She sings again for the second time since Shame, and it actually goes over really well this time. I love the story. I love the music, and I really wish it could get a little bit more consideration, but because those sampling issues they have, it can't get nominated for anything. It wasn't even considered for an Oscar nomination, and it didn't make it. And as a matter of fact, Inside Llewyn Davis didn't really do well at the Oscars, honestly, which is a shame, because, pun not intended. But the thing about it was that it's really good, it's really funny, and it was really nice watching it with a packed crowd, which is something we never would have done in our town, honestly. So, 45 minutes away in Athens when we watched it, we actually had a theater that I've never seen it that packed before. I think the closest probably would have been maybe Beast of the Southern Wild is the last time I saw it that packed. And even then, there wasn't lines out the door to get in the auditorium. As a matter of fact, it's funny because as soon as the tickets were purchased, it's like no one was there. The second we got out of there, it's like all of a sudden there's a line out the door. So that proves how strong that Inside Llewyn Davis, Nebraska, and Philomena are as a triple feature in a college town. So yeah, those were definitely my honorable mentions. There's a couple things that just missed on that list, but I'm allowed to talk about those because we're only having 3. So, AJ, number 10.
So this is our official start then.
This is our official start.
My number 10 of this year is Gravity.
Okay.
Obviously, Gravity has quite a reputation.
Yes.
It's obviously being considered as one of the best movies of the year. I happen to think there's 9 better, but still, I saw over 300 movies this year, so 10 is a pretty decent spot.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people saying it's one of the best movies they've ever seen, too.
Just everything about this movie is I mean, I know there's always those movies like Avatar and stuff like that where they say, oh, these are changing movies, but
it's a game changer for sure. This is the definition of it.
It's kind of hard. This is one of those movies I had a hard time doing the review, and even now, I've seen the movie 3 times now. I still have trouble exactly saying what's great about it.
Yeah.
It mainly comes to Bullock, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the effects speak for themselves.
This is a standout performance of Bullock, for sure.
And there's just those little scenes. The whole rebirth thing is a little, maybe biting off a little more than I can chew.
Yeah.
But, you have those little moments just when she feels like she's reaching the end of her life, that just reaches this power that you'd never suspect from a movie like if you're just judging a book by its cover, you wouldn't expect from a movie like this. And then the great moment where she's crying and her tear floats off of her face and then circles the room.
Yeah.
Just shit like that is awesome. I know it sounds gimmicky, but it's awesome.
It does, but it does work in actual context of the movie.
And of course, Quarren's the front runner in award season, and it's
deserved. It really is.
Yeah, it's totally understandable.
I know you guys probably think I bag on Gravity a lot, and I kind of do because basically, when it comes down to it, that I say it doesn't deserve as many nominations as it does. Well, when it really comes down to it, I did enjoy the movie a lot, and I like other movies more than Gravity, obviously, because it's not on my list, but I don't chide it for being as good as it really was.
Clooney.
What? Why is Clooney not there?
I really love Clooney in this movie. I love Clooney all the time.
Yeah, same here.
But here's the thing. Everybody complains that Clooney always plays himself.
Yeah.
This movie, he definitely does basically... I mean, I think it's bullshit when people say that, but if there was one particular time you were going to judge Clooney as playing himself, this is probably the closest it comes.
Yeah.
But the great thing about that is you have this very intense environment, obviously. Mm. You need a Clooney to kind of be your safety net.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it only adds... And Clooney is so charming and comforting in that part that when what happens in the second half of the movie, it makes the fear and the dread much worse.
There's... Go ahead, sorry.
You lose that comfort and... all that.
There is not many times this happens in a theater. It doesn't happen very often. At least for me, it doesn't happen very often. Especially in a packed theater. Sometimes it's just me and AJ and a couple other people. It could happen there. But when you have a packed theater and you can hear a pin drop, because it's so intense and you're sitting on the edge of your seat. I guess the last time I probably said that would be Captain Phillips. Captain Phillips was like that too. You were just sitting on the edge of your seat, just watching everything unfold before your eyes. And that's just, when I think of Gravity, I think of the fact that you just have a movie that's all doom and gloom, but there's that tinge of hope that something good could come out of it at the very end. And it's a great film, it really is. And I know I don't give it enough credit, I get that, but I mean, it's an awesome film that stands on its own, it really does. We won't be talking about Gravity anymore on this list, but I will give you my number 10. My number 10 is actually going to be Philomena. I really like this movie a whole heck of a lot more than I thought I would. First off, if you watch the trailer, it does not come off like what it is. It looks... I'll shoot with you guys. It looks boring. It really does. Philomena, as a trailer, the movie, other than Steve Coogan and I like Judi Dench, I mean, when it comes down to it, the trailer looks boring. The movie is anything but. There are several points that hit really hard in drama, but for the most part, Philomena is really, really funny in places too. And now we can say this, and it's something that AJ was predicting, and something we can actually say that is actual true now. Steve Coogan is now an Oscar nominee. And that's very deserved. And for those of you that only know Steve Coogan from stuff like Tropic Thunder, I mean...
Alan Partridge.
Yeah, for this video, yeah, for sure, Alan Partridge. And if you haven't seen The Trip, I would advise you to go check it out as soon as you can. It's something that needs to be seen. So, it's kind of like Sideways for foodies.
Yeah, it's in the UK, it's like a miniseries.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. I really like this movie a lot. It's really well done. I'm happy to see... I know I may not show it very much on the video that I'm uploading right now, but I am happy to see it got into so many categories because it definitely deserved it. Judi Dench is amazing in this movie. Amazing in this movie. And I know I was a big proponent for Emma Thompson, and I was, and I still am, but Judi Dench is a phenomenal presence in this movie, and she works. And the stuff... the Big Mama's House stuff always gets me.
It's amazing how she can switch over from heartbreaking to hilarious.
Yeah.
Back.
Like I said, I still love the Big Mama's House scene.
Yeah.
That it still makes me laugh to this day. I think it works really well. It was not going the direction I thought it was going. You sometimes sit in the theater and you kind of think you're going to go in that certain direction, and then you get completely surprised, and then it just like, wow, did it actually happen?
It's weird. It's weird to think about this, considering one's a documentary and one's a movie, even though they're both the same story. But it reminded me of Searching for Sugar Man.
Oh, completely.
Because
I can see that.
It was one of those where it was an obvious true story, and there's a big reveal halfway through. But I had no idea of the true story, so that big reveal blew my mind.
And it was really cool that Philomena Lee actually showed up with Steve Coogan at the Golden Globes. That was awesome, and hopefully that will continue. I'd say it's almost a guarantee that it will.
I wonder if she ever got to see Big Mama's House.
You asked me that actually off camera the other day, and I don't have an answer to it. So, yeah, that's my number 10, Philomena.
Number 9?
Yes.
My number 9 is Mr. Nobody.
I figured it would be on your list.
Which is this great... It was shot like... It was shot... Jesus. It was on the film festival circuit in 2009.
Okay.
4 years ago.
Good Lord.
And it is this... Like I said, I heard one critic call it... This is the perfect way to describe it if you're trying to do it. Condense it.
Okay.
It's the butterfly effect by way of Cloud Atlas.
That's incredible.
And Jared Leto is that not many people know what it is.
Okay.
Jared Leto is this guy who's like 130 now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Jared Leto in the full makeup with the voice, like doing the Dustin Hoffman and Little Big Man voice.
Wow.
And he's looking back on his life because if they're in a future now where everybody's immortal now. Okay. And Mr. Nobody is the last mortal man on Earth.
Nice.
And he's about to die. So he's going to look back on his life. But the thing is I guess we don't know if he's like unhappy with his life or it's just because he's 130 years old. He doesn't have a firm grip on his memories.
Okay.
So when he's telling his life story, his memories go in all kinds of different directions. Like we see the same memories happen like 3 different times, but they all go a different direction. It's kind of like, it's almost like the Run Lola Run concept as well. A little
Interesting.
bit. And like every way he decides to make his memory go gives him a whole new life.
Nice.
So we see like him have like 3 totally different lives depending on where his memories took him. It's like those books that say like, if you want to do this, turn to this page, or if you want to do that, turn to this page.
Oh, the create your own adventure books.
That's basically what he's doing with his own memories. And it's a wild fucking ride, and the whole thing is just a huge spectacle, and I can't recommend it enough. If that's your thing, if it's your type of thing. Some people might be like the same people that didn't like Cloud Atlas.
I love Cloud Atlas, so this is right up my alley.
Yeah, this is a whole different level of fucked up than Cloud Atlas is in the best possible way.
I'm very curious about this movie.
Jared Leto gives one of the best performances of the year. Not like I don't know that I prefer his performance to Dallas Buyers Club or this, but Jared Leto had a very good year with this being released this year.
Agreed.
So
very nice. I will have to check it out. I've been meaning to. I keep forgetting about its existence, to be honest, because I'm trying to watch all the awards movies, and I still haven't watched some of the stuff I need to watch. My number 9 is actually going to be, I'll throw it out to you guys as a little prelude to the videos from the future. I would say my number 9 is my personal pick for Best Picture this year. My number 9 is American Hustle. This movie, from the credit sequence all the way to the end, just had me completely enthralled. I think the cast is phenomenal. I think it's spot on in every single way. This cast is incredible, and I think, sadly, the person that doesn't really get enough credit in this cast is Louis C.K.
Jeremy Renner.
No. Renner was at least name-dropped once. Louis C.K. was never mentioned. Jeremy Renner, obviously, is somebody that some people even forget in the movie, even though he's in the trailer.
It's common knowledge that Louis C.K. is amazing.
Yes.
He doesn't need to be told.
Renner is awesome in this movie.
Renner's the second best of the cast, in my opinion.
Yes, without any question. I love all the reunions in this cast. I really do. But I'm a big mark for anything involving PSs. I like that stuff. I just do. Jennifer Lawrence, I know a lot of people are putting over her performance, and I'm going to as well, but a lot of people now are starting to get on this bandwagon that she's not playing the right age. Like, this is not an age-appropriate award, like a nomination for her. I don't know where that comes from, really, but I think she plays the character very well. I mean, she's pretty much channeling Sharon Stone from Casino, is basically what everybody is saying right now, so I am unfortunately not seen Casino, so I can't really say anything, but we'll go with that. I'll say right now that like I said, I love the cast. I think right now Christian Bale's performance is something that needs to be seen to be believed. It's very deserved that he got the Best Actor nomination. Very happy he did. Bradley Cooper's really good in it too, actually. Bradley Cooper is starting to come up a lot more in my predictions. I mean, with Silver Linings Playbook, and like he's come a long way since he was just doing the rom-coms, kind of like what McConaughey did when he had just that style of movie that. Pretty much the only thing he was in.
It wasn't so much the romantic comedies. He was just like the sidekick.
Yeah.
And then you had The Hangover come out.
Yeah, which of course soured me on him, obviously, because I hate that movie.
He was either the sidekick of the main character, or he was the movie douchebag.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
Because you have Wedding Crashers.
Amy Adams is awesome in this movie too. Like I said, I mean, from top to bottom, oh my god, the music too. David O. Russell's like soundtrack for this movie that was picked as just completely in tune with the decade that we're in.
He needed an awesome soundtrack because he wasn't being Scorsese enough, apparently.
Oh boy, really? I like both movies. I don't care. And I know you like both movies too. I didn't say love both movies. I know you like both movies. I don't think American Hustle is going to show up on your list, but I will say that on mine, at least, I made a personal choice that this was going to be something I was really going to like, and I did. And I'm still sticking with it for my Best Picture win out of nowhere. So my number 9 for 2013 for Best Films is American Hustle.
Yeah, American Hustle didn't make mine, and Philomena didn't either. But
I'm surprised about that one. You really love this movie.
Yeah, Philomena would be here, but if there wasn't so much traffic on it.
I gotcha.
Number 8 now.
Yes.
Yeah, my number 8 is 12 Years a Slave.
Okay.
I understand. I mean, I know I have kind of a
love-hate relationship with it right now.
Well, here's the thing. The first half of the movie is everything the Best Picture frontrunner should be.
Agreed.
Now, most people feel the reverse. I do start to feel like it kind of...
Feels its length?
It doesn't have it doesn't have that great pacing and dynamic that the first half has once we get to Edwin Epps' Plantation. But there's still plenty of things that keep it... When 12 Years a Slave reaches its highest heights, that's best of the year heights.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that.
The performances are good.
Mm-hmm.
They're not like as hyped as they should. Sarah Paulson isn't getting as much recognition as she should be.
I agree with that completely.
Paul Dano is fucking great.
Paul Dano is always great, no matter what anybody says.
Giamatti is a bit intimidating, which is something you don't get from him very often.
Amish Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
The Scourge of Italy.
But yeah, when it's really, really harrowing and powerful, it really reaches those. And it doesn't feel preachy, which is very important in a movie like this.
I completely agreed.
It doesn't feel like it's not like wallowing in what it is.
No.
It just tells the story it needs to tell. Which is absolutely what you should do. McQueen and John Ridley working together on this did everything right that they should have.
It's an excellent combination, too.
So, yeah. Everything. So, it may not be up to the hype you've been hearing, but I totally do not argue that it's one of the best of the year.
Oh, yeah, easily.
So
it barely missed mine, actually, but I really enjoyed the movie. Okay, you guys know I got this issue with kind of like napping a little bit during movies, especially ones that go long. Well, the thing is, with 12 Years a Slave, I was in from the second that the movie started, and I was not sure if I would be, but I was, and it kept just getting better and better and better. And then there were times when it kind of droned a little bit, but most movies have that nowadays, so you kind of learn to expect it sometimes. But when it was on, and these performances, I know they're a little overhyped right now, but they're still there, and they're still on point. And everybody could be given a lot of, like, I'm trying to think of what word I'm looking for here. Everybody here needs to be given a commendation for their performance here, because everybody is just on point in this movie.
And it's one of those spot the person you recognize movies.
I love those games.
Like, you have these names that you recognize, or these faces at least that you'll recognize pretty much through the whole movie are sprinkled somewhere. Like Alfred Woodard and Michael Kenneth Williams, and Quvenzhané Wallis is his daughter.
Yeah, so random.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
I don't think that's the last. I'm not exactly sure it'll be the last time we talk about him in this video. All right, so you want to talk about the fact that a lot of things on my list are from the end of the year. Well, it's true. I'll admit that. But there was actually some things that stuck on from earlier in the year that are on this list as well. Right now, I would say my number 8 for 2013 is a movie that I had a lot of hopes for. When I actually got to see it theatrically, I was very happy with what came out. And the presentation made to be the funniest movie of 2013. My number 8 is The World's End. Now, I was late to the party on Hot Fuzz. I'll admit that. But I love Shaun of the Dead. And I love Edgar Wright, and I think Simon Pegg and Nick Frost work really well together. They have amazing chemistry when it comes to putting movies together and putting anything together, really. I would say that I would love to see more of these movies, obviously. But the fact that this was a trilogy, This Is the End, which was the other movie with the end in the title, that was a funny movie that everybody got them confused. I know I did it too, but still, that's how it is. Simon Pegg in this movie is one of my favorite performances of the year. I honestly love the character. I mean, I think everything works. I think that it's not like too out there, but it is at the same time. Like, this stuff could actually happen, but probably not, because it'd be really out there for it to happen. Maybe in a futuristic world it could. But I like the idea of how everything was set up. I really think that it hits on all cylinders. Like, there's not enough people that saw this movie in a theater. And I think this was a movie that really needed a theatrical experience. Watching it in a packed theater was a really awesome experience for this movie, completely. And for those of you that haven't checked it out, or for those of you that watched This Is the End and thought This Is the End was really funny, This Is the End was really funny. But The World's End needs to have more consideration, given the fact that there is no, other than obviously counting The Wolf of Wall Street, there's no way to say that this was not the funniest movie of the year. And just, it hits on all cylinders at all times. It's hilarious when it needs to be. It's downright dramatic when it needs to be, but it's obviously a straight comedy when it comes down to it. But there's still the heartwarming moments that are there throughout as well. And I like the end, too. I think the end works really well. I'd be lying if I didn't say that my number 8 for 2013 is The World's End. AJ, want to elaborate on that a little bit? I know it may not be on your list, but what's your opinions of it?
No, I like it pretty well. I think it's okay. As far as where it rates in the trilogy, obviously my favorite far and away is Hot Fuzz.
Yeah.
I do get a lot of I know it's kind of a controversial opinion to say I think it's better than Shaun of the Dead because Shaun of the Dead has such a beloved following.
That verse is available on this channel as well.
I totally get the love for Shaun of the Dead, sure, but I think I think I prefer this just a little more.
Well, Shaun of the Dead was my introduction. It wasn't Hot Fuzz. Shaun of the Dead was my introduction here.
Yeah, I had to show you Hot Fuzz after we saw The World's.
Yeah.
You didn't mention Pierce Brosnan.
No. Yeah, Pierce Brosnan's awesome in this movie too.
Yeah, Eddie Marson, they're all Martin Freeman. It's a great group.
I love the cast too, and the trailer scene about like beer off a tap water. I love the way that's shot too.
All right, number 7.
Yes,
my number 7 is Captain Phillips.
Okay.
This movie is awesome, and basically, when people talk about Hanks' performance, they talk about how it's his best for a while, and they talk about the ending.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay. You talk about a movie with this isn't like the only reason the movie's great. I'm just bringing up one point.
Okay.
To kind of keep things moving, you know.
I gotcha.
This movie is intense from start to finish. Almost everybody you talk to will tell you that.
This is a nail biter for sure.
And it's and like I said, it's kind of in 2 parts, which might kind of throw you off a little bit. Yeah. The first part in the boat, and then the second part in the whatever the fuck that is that they
like the little lifeboat like type thing.
Yeah, because do you think they're just gonna leave and then they take Hanks with them?
Yeah.
And then we have a whole second movie there. It's like 2 awesome movies in one place.
And it works together so perfectly too.
And it's also got it looks really great too.
Yeah,
Like
it does.
I've always talked about how much I love that scene with the hoses and the rainbow, and then there's
Awesome.
When we get to the night stuff, like I particularly love the parachuting scene where the dudes like come down. Just the whole, they get that really great. There's that one part where like the evening is setting into night, and you still have that little bit of light. The cinematographer used that to a great degree.
Completely.
But as far as that ending scene, it's really interesting to see a movie that's so like nail-bitingly intense have such an emotional payoff.
Yeah, no lie.
Like the last 10 minutes of this movie is like really, really insanely powerful, and I think propels it to its spot as one of the best movies of the year.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just a great
package.
Yeah. Just the whole mathematical sentence there.
And props to them finding Barkhad Abdi, because there's a reason why he got nominated for the Oscar.
They found him in Minnesota?
Yeah. Crazy.
So, yep.
That performance is awesome, too. It's the reason why he got nominated, because that's such a great performance. Well, my number 7 I thought would be a lot higher on this list, but it's something that's stuck around, and I'm sure I almost guarantee it's a lot higher on your list. My number 7 is actually going to be Pain and Gain. Okay. This movie is Michael Bay's passion project. And it shows. It truly shows. This is something he's been wanting to do forever, and he was like, okay, fine, I'll do your Transformers movie. Just let me do Pain and Gain. So, they gave him this. And it's a true story. I know, obviously, names have been changed to protect the innocent. And
some of them.
Some of the names, or protect the guilty, depending on how you look at things. It's basically a true crime movie that's done as a comedy. And, that is kind of a recipe that doesn't always work.
Yeah, it was off-putting to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Too.
Especially when Dwayne Johnson's barbecuing the body parts and the text says at the bottom, "This is still a true story." Gotta love that. Dwayne Johnson this year, that role was... my God, it's hilarious. Pun intended in this case.
I thought that's where you were going.
Yeah, he's a devout Christian that just... he's really there too. He loves it, but he still curses, and he still, of course, takes part in this horrific incident that happens. I think everybody in this cast is amazing. I mean, Mark Wahlberg he's had a great year, actually. He's had a really great year with this and Lone Survivor coming out in the same year.
We'll forget Broken City happened.
And I do want to forget. Yeah, exactly. We'll completely forget that movie happened. Like I said, Dwayne Johnson he's a great actor. I'm not saying that with wrestling bias. I'm saying because he's actually a great action star, and he's got a believable personality. He's got charisma. He's everything this generation what some people like measured names like Stallone and Schwarzenegger like back in the day, which they're still awesome. But I think Dwayne Johnson is going to be the next generation big action superstar, and I think he's already there. I just think he's going to continue to get roles like this. But we also can see that he can still have versatility, too. He can do the comedy with the Tooth Fairy. And then when he showed up in the Tyler Perry movie for like a split second, he can do drama as well. Faster.
For comedy, you should have brought up Be Cool.
And obviously, I was getting to that. Obviously, when it comes down to it, I'm a big, big supporter of Be Cool. And his character in Be Cool, it's got to be seen to be believed, honestly. He's absolutely hilarious in that movie. I love Be Cool, though, anyway, but that's just me.
He has this thing about playing lovable criminals.
Yeah, he does. You ain't woman enough to take my man. I love that. This is priceless. Everybody's awesome in this movie, and it's something that really needs to be seen. I know a lot of people were put off by the fact that it was a true story and it was done as a comedy, but it works. It works in every single way possible, and that is why it is on my list for 2013 at number 7.
Number 6?
Yes.
My number 6 is The Last Stand.
Our lists are going to be different here, it looks like. I knew that was going to come, though.
Let me tell you about The Last Stand. The Last Stand sounded like a possible recipe for disaster. It was an action movie starring Arnold Schwarzenegger that was released in January.
Had Johnny Knoxville in it, too.
Yeah. I've watched this movie 4 times since then. One of those times was recent, too.
Really?
And this movie just gets better. My God, this, talk about a return to just a return in general for Schwarzenegger. This movie is what a lot of action movies should be.
I agree.
The action is almost nonstop, but it's got character development without being cheesy and cliche. It's got some cliches, but they're forgivable because it's a Schwarzenegger movie.
Of course.
You watch Last Action Hero, you know Schwarzenegger's well aware of the cliches in his movies.
That movie's awesome.
And you have comedy relief without being stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, they go stupid route sometimes, but it's all in good fun.
It's like how Knoxville was in Walking Tall.
Yeah. And this movie is just insanely awesome.
Yeah.
Just to put it in blunt terms, this movie is badass.
Yes.
And I really, really love this movie.
I really didn't think I would take to it. I mean, I was really, not looking forward to this or Bullet to the Head. And when it came down to it, I liked both movies. So, I mean, maybe I'm...
Might as well add Escape Plan, too.
Yeah.
And it's so hardcore, too.
Yeah.
Some of the... it's got, people get shot and all that, but then there's the awesome scene with the roadblock, where it's like, oh, well, he's screwed now, there's a roadblock.
Nope.
He finds a way around that.
Yes, he does.
The scene where, I think it's Knoxville shoots this guy with the flare and his body explodes. It's so intentionally over the top, and being intentionally over the top, especially when you're a Schwarzenegger movie, is probably the best way to go.
It works so well. I mean, if Steven Seagal would have done movies like this back in the day, he probably would have had a longer career. That was actually,
and it's got a great plot. The plot for a while there is kind of like a puzzle because you don't really know how certain things are connected.
The trailer wasn't giving anything away either, really.
This movie is just so awesome, and definitely, I don't care how much shit I get for it. I have absolutely no problem whatsoever saying it's number 6 on this list above some of the movies it's above. Because it's just... When you have a movie has to be a certain something when it's in a certain genre.
Mm-hmm.
This movie being in the action genre, this is exactly 100% what it should have been. I don't think I can tell you one thing that's wrong with it.
No.
I mean, I'm sure you know. As far
There's
as
people that are going to say something.
being
but
a Schwarzenegger action movie, there's nothing I can complain about.
now you lowered your qualifications. You're good.
I love those movies.
I know you do. I don't, but
he has
I warmed up to it.
He has a couple of unforgivably bad ones, like Raw Deal, but you know,
All right.
Eraser.
Well, I'm actually extremely shocked about what I'm about to say. Because I've been thinking about it a lot, and I had this order a lot differently a few weeks ago. And now I've changed it around. My number 6 is something I had extreme anticipation for. Something that I knew I was going to like regardless. And you shouldn't do that in movies, I get that. Something that I knew would have performances in it that I could identify with. And something that I'm obviously going to put over regardless how you look at it. Something that I got to see before most of the public did, and something that I have gimmicks from. Obviously, I showed you guys in previous videos. And something that somehow, some way, with all that accolade I just put over, did not make my top 5. My number 6 is Saving Mr. Banks. And I feel really weird saying that, because it should be a whole lot higher. But I looked more into it, and I realized I can't justify it. And apparently neither could the Academy. Hanks has a tremendous performance here. I really love it. He has a very standout performance with Walt Disney. Obviously, there's a lot more to be said about the supporting actors that surround him. I love Colin Farrell in this movie. I love Bradley Whitford in this movie. I love Jason Schwartzman and BJ Novak in this movie. I think all the supporting cast is phenomenal.
Giamatti?
And the big name that I want to talk about is Paul Giamatti. Paul Giamatti is just excellent in a character that wasn't even real. Something that was just created for the movie, and he works in every single way possible. I mean, I love this film, obviously. A lot more than some people do, I get that. And given the fact that I got to see it on Disney property, which a lot of people didn't get a chance to do, that has nothing to do with it at all. I think it's really well done in places. I think it's funny in places. I think it's heartwarming in places, the right places it should be. Is a little bit too, like relying on the flashbacks. Yeah, I can see that, but I understand also how it pushes the film as well. Emma Thompson is really awesome in this movie, and I really, I was never an extreme fan of her. I liked her work, but I don't remember much of it, honestly. The only thing I could ever go back to, if you want to go back to your previous number, would probably be Junior. So,
Nanny McPhee.
Yeah, I thought that was a little too obvious, actually. Really, a little too obvious. But I think the movie works really well, and it's a family film that's got a couple of things that make it not necessarily so family-friendly. We'll go with that. And if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. I love the Newman score, and I'm very glad it got nominated. John Lee Hancock, which obviously directed The Blind Side, which I wasn't a big fan of. I think he directed this movie the best way he could. I wish there would have been more, honestly, being a Disney guy, I wish there would have been more Disney scenes, personally. There's that one spot scene at Disneyland, and that was about it, when they go in King Arthur's Carousel. And it was kind of like one of those things, like I was watching Escape from Tomorrow, and I was telling AJ about that. It was basically like spot the rides you've been on, spot the things you've seen before. And I was basically like saying, oh, there's Mr. Toad in the background, that's awesome. And there's the corner of Matterhorn Mountain. And I was like, yeah, like being somebody that's been to Disneyland, I would say that it was really awesome to see it in its 50s style look, and everything looked right. I love this movie, but I could not justify making it my top 5 after all that's said and done. My number 6 for 2013 is Saving Mr. Banks.
I guess we've reached top 5 now.
Yes.
I just kicked that plug. I hope it's not.
As long as the iPhone's connected, we're good, because the video is now uploaded. You can check it out on Pop right now.
My number 5
Yes.
is Prisoners.
I knew this was going to come up.
I got the chance to see Prisoners again recently. I got it on DVD, and
Very nice.
it is so... There's so much to say about it. I don't know how to condense
It's so
it.
underrated. It's not even funny.
Well, for starters, it's an epic. It's 2 hours and 33 minutes.
Doesn't feel its length, though.
Yeah, it plays out kind of... It got a lot of comparisons to Zodiac and Seven.
Yeah, I can see that completely.
More so Zodiac than Seven, but every now and then there's a Seven vibe. And this is just well, for starters, the Deacon's cinematography is like the star of the movie, is what everything you hear about. And Jackman and Gyllenhaal just okay. God, I don't even know where to start with this. This movie is so great. I don't even know. I need to talk about everything.
Octavia Spencer, Melissa Leo, Terrence Howard, the supporting cast are phenomenal too.
It's Viola Davis, not Octavia Spencer.
Long Day, sorry. But you know what I'm talking about, so we're good.
But there's so many great things. Like, there's this particular moment that everybody talks about now. I didn't really think about it. Obviously, this movie is very vicious and in your face.
Yeah.
Once Jackman has Dano.
Dano's awesome in this movie.
But everything leading up to that, everything leading up to the abduction itself, potentially. This movie is so eerie.
It's haunting. It really is. It just like messes with your mind.
There's this one shot that everybody talks about where it's the kids have said, "Oh, we're gonna go do this," and then they leave. And then Terrence Howard's drunk and he's playing the trumpet.
Yes.
And the camera just focuses on this tree outside. It sounds like artsy bullshit, but here's the thing. Just the way this camera lingers on this tree and the way the score is playing, it's right then. It tells you when the girls are being abducted without having an abduction scene. Mm-hmm. And it sets in all that dread. Just by lingering the camera on a tree, it tells you all this.
Like The Lovely Bones.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that in here.
Yeah.
This movie is just... I think that's the best compliment I can pay it. I really don't know how else to describe it.
It's spine-tingling.
Like, I want to tell you how great it is, and I want to tell you all these great things about it, but I can't really even put it into words.
To be honest, though, the thing about Prisoners that makes it so eerie is it feels so real. Mm-hmm. Like, you're just, like, being a voyeur watching... even more so in this case, you're watching this unfold.
And the performances add to that realism. Especially as somebody that didn't get a lot of credit for this movie, and some people even didn't like him in it, is Terrence Howard.
Yeah. I like Terrence Howard pretty much in anything. Because
everybody else kind of gets to do the big thing. Mm-hmm. Like, Jackman obviously goes balls out.
Yeah.
Gyllenhaal has his character clearly has a lot of tics going on.
Yeah.
Viola Davis gets to be the why didn't you tell me? Maria Bello gets to do the overly dramatic thing.
Paul Dano gets to play the victim, supposedly.
Terrence Howard is that one character that's just kind of there that has to just silently watch.
Yeah.
All his feelings about everything that's going on are more or less introverted. Like, every now and then he tries to tell Jackman, this is wrong, what's going on, but Jackman is so intimidating, he can't really get very far with that.
No one can stop Hugh Jackman from doing what he wants to do.
So yes, it's extremely, I don't know exactly what word I'm looking for, but keep this movie as far away as you can from your children.
Yeah, no lie.
This movie, somebody was talking about this.
It's unnerving for parents to watch, too.
The thing about Prisoners that you can say is, back in the day, adult drama was its own genre.
Okay.
But I can't remember who. There was a famous director talking about this recently.
All right.
I want to say it was Danny Boyle.
Okay.
He was saying that, assuming it was him, the genre was adult drama, which meant a drama for adults.
Yeah.
Obviously, nowadays, adult almost strictly means porn.
Yeah.
But adult drama back then meant movies like this.
Yeah, completely.
And this really kind of brings that genre back because you kind of see, because, you know, it would look weird. You shouldn't take your kids to it. And it would be weird for, like, teenagers to use it as, like, a date movie or something. It feels strictly like a movie that's for...
mature adults.
More or less.
Yeah.
It's not... That sounds kind of... I don't know how else to word it. So that's how it comes out.
Yeah, sadly.
So yeah, that's... You just have to see it. I think it's going to be a lot of those. Everybody loves crime procedurals now. Mm-hmm. That's been the hip thing for a while now.
Yeah.
This is definitely up those people's alley. but in a very once again very. There's a lot of very dark and bleak things on my list apparently.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the best I can possibly explain Prisoners. You just have to see it. I can't really
And watch it as soon as possible, please, if you haven't seen it. You're not gonna like this. I know you're not gonna like this. It's if I had anything on my list that you would disagree with, it's this one. My number 5 is actually something that I wasn't sure about when I heard about it. It was an interesting concept, but I wasn't exactly sure how it was going to go when I actually watched the movie. That being said, after watching the movie, I realized that, well, I identified with it a lot more than I probably should have. And it's a spectacular film that needs to be seen to be believed. My number 5 for 2013 is Her. I love this movie. I really do. Joaquin Phoenix, who I wasn't soured on in The Master like AJ was, because I like The Master, actually. And then after the stuff he did, like all the crazy, crazy stuff he did back when he thought he was a musician, and we all found out it was a work that was being shot for a documentary, which
by Casey Affleck.
By Casey Affleck, exactly. Which is actually really good, by the way. And really out there, to say the least. This would be Joaquin's return. That and The Master, because The Master really didn't get over as well as it could have. This would be Joaquin's return. Not necessarily to like the Joaquin of old, but he's getting there. This would definitely be a springboard.
A lot of people say he's like in his prime now.
Really?
Those are the people that love The Master.
Yeah. I love this movie. I think Joaquin is great in this movie, and he's got an identifiable characteristic about his character, honestly. And I think that you root for him to succeed. Not like in The Master, which you probably didn't root for him to succeed. But in Her, you definitely do. And you have a very interesting concept, something that takes place into the future. We don't know exactly when.
I think it's just the near future.
It's the near future, and who knows exactly what that means. In this future, we have operating systems, which basically are kind of like counterintuitive. They know exactly what you think before you think it, and they're so advanced that they can actually be kind of a combination between Siri and Devo, if that makes any sense. Basically, they can be so in tune to your likes, dislikes, everything about you, that they can even be potential partners. We'll go with that. And Scarlett Johansson is the voice Samantha, who is his OS. I'm used to always calling him iOS, but his OS in this case. And she just has this likability about her in this movie, and you feel bad when there's trials and tribulations in their relationship, and you understand how it's got to be for Joaquin going through this. And she's not human, but she has the characteristics, so she's going through this pain for the first time as well. Like the heartbreak, the love, everything. It's all there. Spike Jonze wrote a tremendous movie. And another thing that doesn't get mentioned enough is somebody actually that looked like she might have gotten a nomination at one point, and that's Amy Adams. Amy Adams is really good in this movie, too. She is definitely a very important character, but she doesn't have enough screen time in this case, at least in my opinion. And I believe it was Chris Pratt. I want to make sure I got that right.
Yeah.
Chris Pratt's in this movie. He's not overbearing as he can be in some roles.
The voices of Kristen Wiig and Brian Cox are there too.
Yeah, exactly. I thought that was really cool. And it's a very it's an intelligent movie that not a lot of people will identify with and will like. But I know obviously the Academy seems to enjoy it because it got a lot of nominations. I mean, so it got, I believe it was 5.
As many as it could have.
No, it could have got a lot more, honestly. Joaquin was nominated, Scarlett Johansson was nominated, but the movie itself was. And I understand completely why. So, that being said, if you haven't seen it and you think you're going to like it, you probably will. And if you think you're not going to like it, there's a good chance you won't. But it's Spike Jonze directing that really makes this movie work for me. And I think Spike Jonze is a brilliant director that doesn't get enough credit.
Spike Jonze is also that little alien kid that likes to cuss.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought that was him. I wasn't positive, though. Yeah, it's when he plays video games, he plays with this alien, and he curses at him all the time, and he curses at him back, and it's like, it's a test, do something. And it's like, okay, how about I curse back at you? And, oh, I'll just let you go through. There you go. So, yeah. excellent movie. And Rooney Mara is actually good in her small role, too. I don't mind her in the movie either, so.
Olivia Wilde.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So, Portia Doubleday is the surrogate. And so, yeah. It's an excellent film, and that's why it's my number 5. As you roll your eyes.
My number 4 is Spring Breakers.
We're about on the same page here.
Harmony Korine, who wrote Kids, and he made Gummo.
Yes.
And he made, what's that movie called? Trash Humpers?
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, Harmony Korine is not exactly a popular name.
No.
And he's not exactly falling into critical acclaim.
No.
But, and he was just one of those, I'd watch his movies and I'd say, well, that was weird, and then I'd move on.
Yeah.
But he has created something so much more different now. James Franco knows him personally and has said that he's like a much more mature filmmaker when he made this than when he's made his other movies.
Obviously.
I think that shows. A lot of people think he hasn't changed at all. But I think this movie is much more than his other movies are.
It's the people that buy into the fact that the beginning of the movie is the whole thing.
You have this weird neon lit dream / nightmare going on where it's we're into the other video now. There's not much I really can say without repeating myself, but this is one of those movies that's just, I mean, I know it's hard to, a movie's got to be really, really great in the way it's handled to be able to pull this off.
Yeah.
But sometimes there's one of those movies where you just have to forget that the fact that the story is very minimal and the feeling of the movie is just the whole thing. Yeah. And you just kind of gotta let it. You just kind of gotta sit in the passenger seat and let it do its thing.
Absolutely.
And it takes you on a very interesting journey. Like I said, a lot of people think the party scenes are redundant. And I totally get where that's coming from, but I think that's the whole... I think the whole point of the story is we see the same shit over and over again because they're doing the same shit over and over again, which gives them a craving for more, and that's when the problem lies in, because just as they get a craving for more is when they meet Alien.
Exactly.
And Alien gives them a lot more than they need.
Yeah. So much so that one of them ends up just bombing out and is like, forget this, and she's gone for the rest of the movie.
And one of them ends up getting very injured and has to leave.
Yes.
And then all hell breaks loose when there's him and 2 of the girls left. Just happens to be the 2 most psychotic girls.
It gets extremely out there, too.
Because you have this, I know it's blatant symbolism, but still, you have Selena Gomez, whose character is Faith. Her name is Faith.
Mm-hmm. Jeff Jarrett cameo. I love that.
Yeah, and she is like the moral character.
Yep.
And halfway through the movie, she leaves and doesn't come back.
Nope.
And she takes the morals with her.
Yeah, completely.
And the movie just goes into this. It actually, you could say this is where its plot gets in, where he has a rivalry with Gucci Mane, and there's kind of a story that builds there, and then comes to a conclusion that's very controversial. A lot of people wonder if it even really happened. There is proof that the ending's not one of those just it was a fantasy thing. But, you know, that's you could go through a whole analysis with the movie there. So yeah, this is a lot more than just okay. As much as I love it, I can say this. It's clearly more than just what it appears to be on the surface.
Yes.
But the people who can't,
get past that?
The people who only see the surface and say they just can't take it anymore, I do understand.
Yeah, definitely.
But, yeah, it's just one of those movies where either you're going to get sucked into it or you're not.
Yeah.
And great if you are, and that's unfortunate if you aren't, but that's just the kind of movie that it is.
Like when Ellie Goulding was playing at the end, it was kind of like, we're all, mesmerized by what we just saw. There was a guy that stood up and walked out. He's like, well, that sucked. So that's pretty much just...
Props to him for not walking out halfway through.
Yeah, no lie. He stuck out through the entire movie, and that's more than I can say from some people right now.
Because I imagine at least half the people that actually saw this movie probably did not even get to the Franco scenes.
No, I guarantee you. They didn't even know Franco was in the movie, except for maybe seeing his name on the credit drop, and that was about it.
So yeah, if you like absolutely despise Spring Breakers, I get you.
Yeah.
I understand where you're coming from.
We don't share your opinions, but we understand why you think with the way you do.
But it's just, if you are fortunate enough to be able to be pulled into the movie and fall under its hypnosis.
Yes. It's quite a wild ride.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll say that a lot in the next couple of nominations. I'm not there yet. I'm almost there. My number 4 is something that I had a lot of hopes for before I even saw a trailer. It's something that I heard about and it hooked me. And I didn't know exactly what it was until I found out more about it. And the more I found out about it and I started seeing trailers for it, it was kind of like, yeah, I'm definitely in for this. And usually the true story thing is not very... As a matter of fact, it's weird. My top 4 are all true stories. That doesn't happen very often with me. It's weird that I'd say that because I'm not really... The true story thing, I know a lot of people jump on that. It was like, oh, it really happened, so it's got to be awesome. I was like, no, not every true story is something worth seeing on cinema. It really isn't. So, I don't want to see, like, John, like, buy a can of tuna. I don't want to see that. Maybe part of a movie, that's fine, but I don't want to see a whole movie about John buying a can of tuna, and I don't think you guys want to see it either. So,
It'd be much more entertaining than when he died at the end.
Yeah, I knew you were going to do that. That's the reason I set you up, sir. Set him up, bang, knock him down. So, we'll get to Spring Breakers in a minute, but we'll talk about my number 4, and my number 4 is something that I'm very happy to see got a lot of awards buzz, and very deservingly so. My number 4 is Dallas Buyers Club. This movie is just great. Straight up, it is great. It is funny when it needs to be. It is extremely, like, we're talking like Philadelphia-style dramatics in this movie. And I'm not just saying it due to the subject matter. I'm saying it because it is a very, very heart-wrenching movie to watch. You're basically on the journey of the guy that's like Texas everyman Ron Woodruff. He's a rodeo, and he's a rodeo.
He's a bigot and homophobic.
Yeah, exactly. He is like Texas. He loves America. He's just everything that a lot of people like aspire to be. And then eventually And then eventually you find out that he has contracted HIV. And then it just starts from there. And then he meets Jared Leto, and it's just like, and Jennifer Garner ends up being one of the doctors at one of the clinics he goes to, and then he ends up creating what is, in essence, the Dallas Buyers Club, which is basically getting medicine from another source at another place that is not officially illegal, but it's not okayed by the Food and Drug Administration. So technically, it's like red tape there, basically, and then you follow the story from there. And this movie has a lot of extremely incredible scenes in it. Matthew McConaughey has come a long way in a very short amount of time. This was, honestly, I'd say right now, this has been like the last few years have been extremely great for his career. They really have. And it's just going to get better. And if he can somehow take that Oscar win on March 2nd, I would say that it's going to propel him to even better stuff in the future, if that's even possible. I love this movie, and like I said, it's like there's points in this movie that it's just like your heart breaks for what he goes through, what Jared Leto goes through, and you understand, you have like a kinship with these characters because you become invested in them. And if you can become invested in characters and something bad happens to them, you feel their pain. And if you feel their joy as well, it's completely done in every single way possible, and it's done in the right way. It's a brilliant script. It's brilliantly directed. It looks awesome, and it's that gritty style movie that I really wish could have been... Actually, I'd say I wish it could have done better in the Oscars, but it did really well. So, I mean, I have no problems with it. So, yeah, that's easily put. My opinion would be to put Dallas Buyers Club on this list so high, so... AJ, you have any comments on the movie?
I think it's mainly a performance piece, and it's better to look at it that way than a full movie, in my opinion, anyway.
It's been a great year for Jared Leto, too, with your Mr. Nobody and now this.
Yeah, I liked it mainly for its performances, but as a movie, I thought it was good, but nothing, that I'm enthusiastic.
I gotcha.
Over.
Yeah.
Number 3?
Yes.
My number 3 is Pain and Gain.
I knew that was coming.
Well, I got the chance to watch this again recently as well.
So that's probably why it still remains so high.
This, there's one thing I keep forgetting to mention when I talk about how great this movie is.
Okay.
Considering I write scripts, this is a script I'm envious of.
Really?
Because this, like, I mean, I know.
Oh, wait a minute, I know that. Never mind.
I know you. I know you especially wouldn't. I see what you mean now.
I know you do.
You wouldn't think about the writing when you see Michael Bay's name on a movie.
No. Boom!
But this movie's way with words is just fantastic. It's something that I've always noticed it when I watch the movie, but I never really think to mention it when I'm talking about why it's so great. On top of the fact, obviously my favorite genre of all time is black comedy.
Yeah, of course.
Just movies that have a twisted, sick sense of humor. Even I was saying, because I read the 40-page article that the movie is based on, that you can just find online. And this was like very disturbing shit, especially since it had like accompanying pictures.
Yeah. Oh, really?
But then, so I was even hesitant about how are they going to make this a comedy without pissing people off and being just, like, are they going to shy away from it? They didn't shy away from anything.
Nope.
And even despite having a sick sense of humor, it is the serious stuff is taken seriously.
Oh yeah.
There's still, the only stuff they didn't add stuff for comedy. The shit that is funny in the most absurd ways is what really happened, like the hair and the chainsaw.
Yeah.
And the just how fucking dumb they were. Like Ed Harris's line at the end of the movie when he's narrating, and they get sentenced to death, obviously.
No, of course.
And Ed Harris says, pretty much the only thing they were convicted of is the thing they were most guilty of, being dumb, stupid fucks.
And I don't like Ed Harris, but that's a brilliant line right there.
Wahlberg is great. Like, Wahlberg has this... He had a good psychotic performance in Fear.
Yes.
But then he turned into, like, mega action star and likable hero.
Yeah.
So you kind of forgot about that he can go to those places.
Oh, yeah.
Wahlberg definitely, you could tell he was, obviously. But Wahlberg really goes all out to portray, obviously you think, like one critic put it best, to warn people ahead of time. He said this is one of those movies where the heroes are not the people on the poster.
But you still root for them anyway.
Because you still...
No, it's not in that way. No, not in that way. No, it's just the heroes, which are the bad guys in this case, are likable. That's the thing, though. That's what I'm trying to say. Is they're likable enough that you would want them to win, but no, you can't have them win because obviously they're the bad guys.
What Wahlberg does here is, you would think since he's Mark Wahlberg, it'd be like, hey, this is Daniel Lugo, the fit guy that did all he could do, and was the all-American, and, was living the American dream. Mm-hmm. Wahlberg does not shy away from portraying Daniel Lugo as a fucking psychopath.
Yeah, completely.
Especially the scenes when they're torturing Tony Shalhoub, which get pretty wild.
Yeah, Shalhoub is awesome in this movie, too.
And, of course, I can't praise Dwayne Johnson enough.
No one
and
can.
Anthony Mackie,
Anthony Mackie, yeah.
And then you have, like, Ken Jeong, who has one scene, and Rob Corddry. These guys who normally do comedies, and normally I'm not fans of, but they're right exactly where they should be in this movie. Ken Jeong's one scene is really great, and he was perfectly cast.
The infomercial guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. I hate Ken Jeong, so.
Be a doer, don't be a don'ter. And Rob Corddry as the nervous manager of the gym, the owner of the gym that kind of unknowingly gets involved in all this. Am I missing anything? There's a lot of this movie is so out of this world insane in the best possible way. So I understand if you're iffy considering the subject matter, but they do handle it the best way they can.
Yeah, definitely. It's still a drama in those spots, easily.
And the whole thing about when he's grilling the hands and it says this is still a true story.
Yeah.
Michael Bay is fully aware of just how insane it is that this really happened. He's not like trying to make it look good.
No, not at all.
So, and this is, a lot of people think Michael Bay is way too frenetic and way too, out there, but this movie fits in perfectly.
Yeah, it had to be this way.
Like, this is like Michael Bay all over. Like, he doesn't do anything necessarily different, but he takes his normal style, and this is where he should really put it.
I wish he would.
So, well, he and Wahlberg are reteaming for the next Transformers, and it's Shia-less, so maybe it'll get a little better in quality. I don't know.
Maybe, but it's still a Transformer, so
the bar is so low.
Yeah.
They've got to at least rise above it a tiny bit.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But yeah, I can't praise this movie enough either. It's clear where, towards the end, you can kind of tell where it starts to go a little more into fiction and fabricating for the sake of it being an action movie.
The fact Dwayne Johnson's character didn't exist in real life, it was like an amalgamation of, like, what, 2 people?
Yeah, he's kind of a composite character. There's a fictional... There's a real guy, and then there's kind of the guy they made up, and there's a little bit of... He's kind of a creation, more or less.
Number 3. Well, it's stuck here the whole time, and it deserved to be here. And AJ's already discussed it, so I'm just going to elaborate a little bit further. My number 3 is Spring Breakers.
I thought you said your top 4 was true stories. I was sitting here going, oh, I guess he didn't put Spring Breakers on there. I wonder what it is.
Well, didn't some of that happen?
There's a lot of true stories in your list.
There we go. It's been a long day, sorry. And it's just getting started, folks. Okay. I love this movie. It's the perfect blend of what the person in the theater wants to see. Like, you're going to bring in, and trust me, I know this for a fact, you brought in the people that are watching this movie because of the TNA. They were pacified in about 20 minutes, and
so much so that they got tired of it.
They went on their way. Then there's people that understood some of the people that were in the movie, and they stayed around a little bit longer, but most likely they probably still left too. Then you have people like AJ and myself that got enthralled with this movie and were hooked from the second that it started. And I will tell you right now, it is a travesty, a personal travesty, that James Franco is not nominated for supporting actor at the Oscars with this performance.
He got a lot of critics awards.
Yes, I was happy with that, actually. But Franco needs to be on this list. As a matter of fact, I'd say probably he's my win at this point. He's got I'd say he has easily one of the best supporting actor performances of this year, if not maybe a couple of years. I love this character of Alien. He's so out there. And I love the time when he's playing. It's Every Time by Britney Spears. He's playing it on his white piano, and he's got the girls, and they're wearing the masks, and they're like moving around to the music, and Alien's just sitting there playing with his teeth all blinked out and everything.
Anytime he's at the piano is a good thing.
Yeah, completely.
Like the scene where he's contemplating his confrontation with RJ2.
Okay. I believe I said this in the half-year video, and I'll say it again. Go back and watch Oz the Great and Powerful, and watch James Franco in that movie. Then just get Spring Breakers.
It helps that they were actually released in theaters in the same
month. Yeah, they were.
In March.
And some theaters actually had them at the same time. And then just for good measure, why don't you just throw in This Is the End? So just watch this triple feature and realize just how versatile James Franco is as a character. Now, granted, most of these are comedic performances, but there's so much more to them than that. Alien is not a one-dimensional character. I don't think there's enough dimensions for Alien to perfectly represent him. Like, he's just out there. I mean, he's quotable. He's memorable. And he can balance both completely crazy and completely calm at the same time.
It's clear in a couple of scenes, like especially when he's preparing for the ending. Despite his lack of sanity, and his screaming and how he's gonna fuck everything up. He's clearly like really fucking scared inside.
Yeah. He doesn't realize the ramifications of what he is doing until he does them. And then he's even kind of like, at the end, he seems like he's even backing off. He's like, I don't know, we should do this. So, yeah, I love this movie. It's a wild ride in every way that my number one is, and in every way that a movie should be. It's, if you think you can get invested in the movie, if you get past the first 20 minutes where you think it's just another TNA movie, then please, by all means, watch this movie again. I know a lot of people hate this movie. Absolutely despise this movie's existence. But just look at it for what it is. And don't get wrapped up to the fact that it is one thing or if it's not the other thing. It's both. And it's very versatile, and it fits any sort of audience you'd want to bring to. Well, obviously, there's there's certain audiences when it would work for children. But I mean, still, it's a great adult movie. We were talking about that with Prisoners. It's a great movie that you have to have a little bit of... you have to be an adult in order to like. But it's not just TNA like people think it is either.
Spring Breakers is a little different in that sense. It's more of a...
It's not a college party movie either.
Yeah, you don't necessarily have to be an adult per se. Like, there's like always precocious teenagers that are like huge movie buffs and stuff.
I know a lot of people that did watch it and loved it.
Yeah, as long as you can, it's really, it's just literally one of those ways. It doesn't matter who you are. You're either gonna love it or hate it, and it just
there is no in between here.
It just depends on which kind of person you are.
Yeah. So
then there's people like my brother, for instance. Mm-hmm. He didn't hate it and he didn't love it. He just didn't know what to think at all.
That's interesting.
It was just like,
well, that just happened.
But he did tell me, and I told him this would happen. Like 5 days later, it was still on his mind. So that's a step in the right direction, hopefully.
Like us still singing the Inside Llewyn Davis soundtrack in our heads.
I mean, it could be that movie's still in my head 5 days later, and I'm thinking about how much I hate it now. I mean, there's always that.
But it's still on your mind regardless. So that counts for something.
I hear that's how a lot of actors choose their scripts too. Like, they'll read a script and then they'll like go a week, and then if that script is like stuck in their head, then they'll make the decision.
That really sucked. I don't know why I even read that, and 3 days later it's like, wait a minute.
That's what I saw an interview recently where Bale said that about Out of the Furnace.
It's interesting.
All right, number 2.
Oh boy, we are going to differ here. I have a feeling.
My number 2 is The Wolf of Wall Street.
Yep.
Which, going off of Pain and Gain, is which apparently is getting like, there's some people comparing the two, which is very interesting.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I can see one particular comparison. Besides, the sex and the nudity and the cocaine and the riches, and the using the money and possessions that aren't yours.
There's a lot of things in that.
The Wolf of Wall Street is just wall-to-wall insanity in the best way. Like
I've debauchery.
I've said a few times before, I'm going to mention it again, because it's the best way to describe the movie, really. There's something to offend everybody in this movie. You could say the same thing about Pain and Gain, too.
Yeah, completely.
And it's just no holds barred, no censors, nothing. Like I said, I'm still pretty sure when they switched it from NC-17 to R, there's still some stuff the MPAA missed.
Yeah. I think they just got tired of sitting through 3 hours of a movie over and over again.
The movie is hilarious.
Yes, it is.
It shocks people when they learn it's a comedy.
Mm-hmm.
My grandparents are actually watching it right now.
Or maybe.
Can't wait to see how that comes out.
Maybe they are. Maybe they've already bombed out.
Well,
hopefully not.
And you got McConaughey, giving this great... I mean, he's only in like 2 scenes. Mm-hmm. But he really brings you into the movie. He brings you into the movie like he brings DiCaprio into the story.
Yes. Because
he's the reason that Jordan Belfort became what he became. Because Mark Hanna was that...
mentor.
Basically, fuck the customers.
Yeah.
This is about you and making money. We're making money on commission, motherfucker. What's really great is after he does the thing, you see the look. He gets like a really giddy child look on his face. And just one scene after the other, because after after you've met McConaughey and you're like, holy shit, that's one of the craziest motherfuckers I've ever seen. Then we meet Donnie Hazel.
And Jonah Hill comes into the thing and completely throws everything on its head.
We haven't even met Jonah Hill yet when McConaughey disappears from the movie.
Yep. It's like they couldn't be in the same movie, so they had to get rid of one before they brought in Donnie.
And then we go into, so we had cocaine with McConaughey. Then we have the great scene with Jonah Hill. Smoke this crack with me, bro.
Smoke this crack with me, bro.
Nobody's around. Smoke this crack with me, bro.
Yeah,
and he gets a new drug every person he meets, basically.
And you've got his Quaaludes, which are throughout the entire movie, which makes them for some very entertaining film.
And you can technically say it really has not much of a plot until we meet Kyle Chandler and John Dujardin.
Yeah, of course.
Who are the one that's going to help him commit the crimes and the one that's trying to stop him.
Yeah.
Kyle Chandler made this funny comment. It's not true he needs to give himself more credit. He said, with all these crazy ass characters and all these drug fueled psychopaths, he said Kyle Chandler said whenever he's on screen, he'll probably when people go to the bathroom or get popcorn.
I saw this happen one time.
But
I won't lie about that.
One of the best scenes of the movie is when he's on the yacht.
Oh, totally.
So Kyle Chandler, for some reason you can hear me right now. That scene with you on the yacht is one of the best scenes of the movie.
It's so much better than it is in the trailer too. It's a lot longer than you get like a sprinkle of it in the trailer, but in the actual movie it works so well.
And of course there's the infamous Quaalude crawl. I know there was actually an argument about if the scene is infamous now because the movie's been out for less than a month. Everybody's fucking talking about it. That's the point.
Like D kept trying to drive the Lamborghini. Is like,
like the whole
awesome.
The whole movie is like this. Everybody's talking about it now, and it's this. It's that one movie. There's always that one movie where you can't wait to hear people's reactions after they see it.
Completely. Usually it's a Tarantino movie.
Yeah. So I guess I'll let you talk about that more whenever it decides to come up.
Yep. Maybe.
All right.
I knew we were going to flip 1 and 2. After thinking about it more and more, and the rewatch the other day certainly did help. My number 2 for this year is, I guarantee, your number 1. My number 2 for this year is The Iceman. Okay. First off, The Iceman, before I get talking about the movie, The Iceman has one of the best inside jokes between AJ and I that I think has existed in a long time.
What's that?
When Athens got the movie, Athens... They were promoting things, obviously, on their road sign, on their marquee. And it said, Athens loves the Iceman. So I did a video that says, well, yep, Athens really loves them some Michael Shannon. So we thought that it would be really funny, and it was really funny. There was just a random thing that happened. Michael Shannon is he's just so great of an actor. It's just, I mean, you've got...
Despite what you may think of him after watching Man of Steel.
Yeah. I mean, go watch Take Shelter. I mean, Take Shelter is a great example. And...
Bug, Revolutionary Road.
Yep. Yeah, great in Revolutionary Road. I love that movie.
Boardwalk Empire.
Oh, I don't watch Boardwalk, so I can't really say anything about it. Actually, he's,
The Runaways.
Yeah. One of the best parts of that movie, actually. And Premium Rush.
Yes. Bobby Monday.
Bobby Monday and Premium Rush.
Yes.
He does not like the term douchebag at all.
Or suck it.
Or suck it, exactly. He's
I know
an awesome character with a great laugh.
I know we're doing the best of 2013 right now, and Premium Rush is 2012, but let me just announce it right now. See Premium Rush as soon as you can.
Please do. Please do. It's really, really good. Speaking of James Franco from a little bit earlier, he's got a kind of a bit role in this movie as well. I would say that this movie, I've talked about how chilling stuff like Prisoners is. The Iceman is extremely chilling, obviously, because it is a true story. And it is something that really happened. And it's something that I can believe really happened, too. And it's very dark, obviously, with the subject matter. Michael Shannon's performance in this is just, like, borderline eerie. Normally, you run from Michael
Borderline?
No, hold on. I'll get to that. You run from... Okay, I know, like, there's some people, like, you would see in a dark alley, you turn the other way. If you'd seen Michael Shannon's shadow in a dark alley, you're already gone. He is a very intimidating individual. I mean, like, I'm not saying he's a big hulking muscle man. I'm saying he is just
The real guy
creepy.
The real guy got to that.
Yeah, he's creepy. Now, I don't like using that word, but he's creepy. That's the only way to describe it. And this movie, I mean, his performance is just so
To make him
Just
even
makes you shiver.
to make him to show that he's an even better actor. Pretty much all reports point to the fact that Michael Shannon's a very nice and cool guy in real life.
I've heard that too. He's a jam-up guy in real life. I probably wouldn't, like, go up to him because of his movie roles, but, I mean, hey, hi, Michael Shannon, I'll just see you from across the street. We're good. Seriously. And I like him driving the ice cream truck. I thought that was funny.
That was
After he took it from Chris Evans.
I don't believe there's a scene where Cole Clancy drives the truck.
I believe there is, just one. I thought there was.
I don't think so.
Chris Evans is somebody who needs to be talked about, too.
Mm-hmm.
He's come a long way. I mean, obviously he's Captain America now. Everybody knows that. But Chris Evans is really awesome in this movie. And it's not the type of character you would imagine him to play.
What's great is this came out between Captain America and the Avengers.
Yep.
Or it was shot
Mhm.
because
He was on break.
Because this was it was either TIFF or Venice. I think it was Venice. In 2012. So it sounds like he would have been Captain America, Mr. Freezy, and then back to a Captain America. That's a very interesting. Plus, he had that movie Puncture that not many people saw, where he was the drug addict. So yeah, Chris Evans has got some acting chops that he still needs to show off some more here.
Yeah, we haven't seen that in a long.
I mean, I'm not
long
complaining
time.
that he's in franchise because Captain America is very good for him.
Yeah, and the Winter Soldier looks really good too for this year. But yeah, I like this movie a lot. And obviously, I wouldn't rank it so high if I didn't. And obviously, we have flipped our 1 and 2 from earlier on in the year. So I'm going to go ahead and say it and let the love fest continue that my number 2 for 2013 is The Iceman. Put over your favorite movie, AJ.
All right, my number 1 is
Go ahead.
The Iceman.
Obviously.
Here's the thing. What's great is it was a big battle between the Wolf of Wall Street and this.
I know it was. I'm sure this was really hard for you to come up with this idea, too.
Yeah, but here's the thing. There are times where obviously the Wolf of Wall Street is 3 hours, so it has a bit of a disadvantage.
Yeah.
Movies tend to have their dry spots from time to time. The Iceman does not have a dry spot.
Not one bit.
There's not...
What?
Nothing. Because, there's no... Fuck it.
I know. I got you.
There's a pun in there somewhere, I just couldn't find it.
I got you.
There's just... Okay,
It's constantly going. We'll go with that.
Somebody brought this up, and I found it interesting, especially since I gave American Hustle so much shit for this.
Okay.
Which is why I didn't like American Hustle better. I still like it, but not as much.
Okay.
The Iceman also got comparisons to Goodfellas.
Really?
And not just because Ray Liotta's in it either.
Yeah, well, yeah, we didn't talk about him yet. I'm sure you will.
And when I watched it again recently, I actually started to see it.
Really?
It's not overpowering like American Hustle, but there is a Goodfellas vibe there, but it's very...
Subtle?
In a very, I almost welcome it.
Really?
But
What makes it like Goodfellas?
You just have to... It's like...
Something you have to watch?
Yeah, there's not really something in particular. It's just a particular feel, I guess. It doesn't feel like Scorsese. It just feels like Goodfellas in general.
Interesting.
If that makes sense. I'm sure you can make some sense out of it.
Somewhat.
And just everything. It's like... It's dramatic, and it's at times disturbing and surprising. Like when he gets into a fight with the guy at the pool hall. The very first scene of the movie is him on a date with Winona Ryder. That goes particularly well, and we see that he's kind of introverted, and he seems like a good guy. And then the very next scene after this very pleasant date, where she says she's going to call him again, so it went well. Obviously, they end up married. He goes to this pool hall and he's hanging out with his friends, and this guy gets pissed off and pisses him off and leaves. And Cole Clancy goes outside and cuts his throat and leaves him there. Just because if you piss him off, he will kill you, no matter what the context.
Exactly.
and just the way he did this character. The really fantastic thing is how so well he got into this character's head. He said when he got the script, he didn't know who Richard Quincy was. Mm-hmm. So the fact that he was able to read the script and then do that research and just how he managed to become the person without knowing who the person was when he got the script is incredible. Especially with you. I really highly recommend all the documentaries HBO did on him. Like the Iceman Tapes and Confessions of a Killer or something like that. Luckily, they did not name any of the documentaries the Iceman come with. Thank you.
That's good. I'm sure they shied away from it as much as they could.
Yeah, Winona Ryder making a comeback now.
Yeah, definitely.
Chris Evans. When I talk about what I love in movies, it's this twisted sense of humor. This movie is really dark and brooding, and dramatic. It's got the family drama and it's got the brooding drama of like the mob and mafia and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Then you bring in Chris Evans' character, who is fucking insane. And he brings this really twisted sense of humor to the movie, just at the right time. And just everything about this movie works.
Yeah, completely.
And it's engrossing. You just can't take your eyes off of it. At least that's me, anyway.
No, I agree.
And I do think, after a lot of thought, that it is the best movie of the year.
Obviously, I agree with you that it is one of the best movies of the year, but I obviously have one more above it, and apparently somewhere down the line we flip-flopped here. So I'm going to tell you what everybody knows is my favorite movie of the year, and that, obviously, without any question, is The Wolf of Wall Street. Now, AJ told me about this movie, and he read the book, and he read the script, and he was obviously all in because it was Scorsese and Decap again mixed together, because that's the recipe for greatness, as it always is. Not necessarily awards greatness, but in this case, we'll make an exception, thankfully. But when it comes down to it, this movie is just out there in every great way possible. It is 3 solid hours. And unlike with The Hobbit, you're not wasting your time. I will say that this movie had me from... Okay, you know how when you go to a movie, you don't want to get up because you're just so enthralled and it doesn't matter, and then you have to go to the bathroom for like 16 hours when you're done, obviously, because you've held it in the whole time, making your bladder explode. Weird visual, I'm aware, but still, this is a movie I couldn't get up in. I couldn't get up at all because I didn't want to. I would miss something. Go ahead.
Oh, no, there's a dirty joke in there somewhere.
Yeah, I'm sure there. well, yeah, but no, not really. The thing is, this is just number one. Nowadays, especially, I don't know what it is. Blame it on whatever you want, like being tired of my age or whatever. It doesn't matter. I have a hard time staying awake sometimes during some movies. Most movies, but then again, I do end up going back after the fact, one way or another, and rewatching the things I missed. Well, with The Wolf of Wall Street, I was in for the whole 3 hours. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure if it would have got the director's cut of over 4 hours long, I would have been fine with it, honestly. Because I can't get enough of these characters. And, I mean, everything, like, the whole is like Donnie's teeth, and then when John Bernthal punched him, and it's just, which was real, by the way, which I believe we chatted about on this channel as well. If we haven't, it was a real punch. It was funny because he's standing there. It's like DiCaprio and Scorsese, and they're both standing there, and he's like, hey, this punch isn't working very well. You know how sometimes fake punches don't look right? It's like, oh, okay, how about you hit me for real? And he's like, I don't know if I should do this or not. And basically, Jonah
Hill said he was freaking out because he could actually, like, when Bernthal heard Scorsese say, why don't we do the punch for real, you could see Bernthal in the back, like, getting pumped.
He got really excited. He really didn't like Superbad. So, he's going to let him have it. And of course, Jonah Hill was looking at DiCaprio to be the voice of reason, to stop this dead in its tracks. And he just, turned his head, and what you saw on television, on the film, actually happened in real life. So, yeah, that was really awesome. His veneers fell out and everything, and of course, that had to be taken out in post and everything, and he was just left laying on the ground. So that was a real punch, and that was really awesome. This movie is just, balls to the wall in every single way possible. It's It's great. It's a great film, and I understand there's a lot of people that will walk out of it due to its length. I've dealt with that. People that will walk out of it due to what they're getting themselves into, because most people don't understand, number one, that it's so dirty. Most people don't understand that it's 3 hours, and that's two things right off the top that's going to turn a lot of people off. But I promise you, if you can invest yourself in the character...
You forgot that it has the usage of fuck record.
Yeah. There is an F-bomb record that is untouchable now.
The recorded number was 506. But
No by mouth, isn't it? Or has that been elapsed by now?
It passed No by mouth. No by mouth had like 400 and something.
That's not enough.
Sorry. The recorded number was 506, but then somebody put a video compilation together of all of them, and it came to 522.
Good God. So yes, it breaks the record, and I don't think that record's going to be topped anytime soon. And why not just let it keep the record? It's another thing, another accolade it needs to have. The directing in this movie, it's Scorsese. What can you say about it? Honestly, I mean, he's a genius. He really is. He's a modern filmmaking genius. It's just how it works. And he deserves anything he gets accolade-wise. And I'm very glad to see he got a lot of very deserved nominations this year. I'm very happy to see DiCaprio got nominated this year, because that was very deserved as well. I love McConaughey in this movie. I do. And it's funny because his character shows up for just a little bit. Not even that. But when it comes down to it, he's involved with the end as well. Because the credit sequence is doing the thing that made everybody laugh in the theater, obviously, including us. And like you talked about the meme with they're just sitting there with their Golden Globes and they're doing it. So
yeah, just a little fun fact. The pounding on the chest and humming is apparently, I read, McConaughey's warm-up before he does a scene. And it was DiCaprio that said, hey, you should do that when the cameras are rolling.
I want to be a fly on the wall when EdTV was being made. And I want to see McConaughey just standing back in a dark corridor doing that. And they're like, what are you doing? I'm just getting ready, baby. The thing is, you have to understand when you come to this movie what you're getting yourself into. It is 3 hours of insanity. There is debauchery in every single way possible. There is drug use. There is sex. There is nudity. There is violence. There is everything anybody would ask for from an R-rated film. That just barely got that R-rated movie.
You called the captain the N-word.
I love that. So awesome. The thing is,
what I wanted was a reveal that the captain was white.
I think if we went further into it, that may have happened, to be totally honest. Everybody in this movie is incredible. I mean, I'll even go down to the awesomeness of seeing Ethan Suplee, who's lost a ton of weight. Yeah. That is awesome, seeing him in there, and he looks so creepy. He kind of reminds me of Shane Stant if they did the Tonya Harding movie theatrically. Mm-hmm. That would work really well. Or the guy, obviously, that was in Bully. He's another guy that comes to mind when I think about that guy if they ever made that movie.
A lot of people love Chester Ming, too.
Chester Ming is great. I will say right now that it's really awesome to see 3 great directors as cameos in this movie. It's great seeing... I love Rob Reiner, obviously. And Jon Favreau. And, of course, the big one is Spike Jonze. He's just... It's so great.
I keep mentioning this. We've talked about this movie 3 times on camera now, and I failed to mention this interesting piece of trivia.
Go ahead.
You know who Steve Madden is?
I think... He looks familiar, but I can't place who he is.
That's Jake Hoffman, who is Dustin Hoffman's son.
Oh.
Which is really funny that Steve Madden is a childhood friend of Donnie Asoff because Jonah Hill and Jake Hoffman are childhood friends.
That's awesome. I'm sure that was done on purpose as well.
Because if I heard correctly, Dustin Hoffman he used to hang out with Dustin Hoffman's kids, and they were friends. And Dustin Hoffman got Jonah Hill a part in I Heart Huckabees, and that was his first movie.
Interesting.
So there's that little piece.
And Jordan Belfort himself is in the movie too.
Yeah.
So that's another thing as well. Another little tip.
Just because he says, I always say Belfort, but in the movie he's saying Belfort, putting the emphasis on that. And then at the end, when he introduces him, he says Belfort. And so I said, shit. Jordan Belfort says his name is Jordan Belfort. I have to say the fort now.
Belfort, yes. And I'll give it up to Kyle Chandler in this role, too. I like Kyle Chandler in this movie a lot. He's the great He kind of reminds me, honestly, he kind of reminds me of John Hamm in The Town. he has that same, like, I don't care what happens, he's going to take him down.
John Hamm was a little more hardcore, but...
Without being hardcore. He's like the Mountie, he's going to get his man, regardless what it
I
takes.
do love his delivery of, well, fuckity, fuck.
But yeah, this movie's a trip in every single way possible. I don't do drugs, never have, never will, but I have a feeling if you watch this movie on some sort of influence, you may take to it a different way as well. But that's purely speculation based upon nothing, because obviously I'm straight edge. But the thing is, this movie makes you feel like you're there. It makes you feel like you're doing the drugs, make you feel like you're having the sex. It makes you feel like you're making the money. It really gets you involved in Jordan's life and everything about it. It's like Jordan had a wife previously, and then it's like she completely gets forgotten about, obviously. And she's a nice character. She's not in very many scenes. She's a nice character.
She's very supportive.
Extremely supportive. And then Margot Robbie shows up, and then everything changes.
She catches him doing coke on her tits.
Yep.
Just the normal stuff.
In the back of a limo, and it's like just another day for Jordan Belfort's life, okay? But yeah, that being said, easily, without any question, and I know you agree with me when it comes to it's easily one of the best 3 movies of the year. My favorite...
It's top 2,
yeah. My favorite movie of 2013 is The Wolf of Wall Street. That being said, we've not started 2014 out very well, as you've seen with the review videos. We have a little bit of a potential for something good later this year, obviously, but in January, it doesn't look too promising. I think the only thing that looks okay at this rate would be Labor Day, and we still got a couple weeks for that.
Labor Day is technically 2013.
It's coming out in 2014, so I mean, I guess... Well, then technically we don't have anything to look forward to 2014 right now because everything is from the previous year or just doesn't look good at all. I mean, this week we've got Jack Ryan, which it could work, you never know. And The Nut Job, Devil's Due, and just ride along. So, yeah, who knows. I, Frankenstein the week after. Just not that much to look forward to, folks. So, trust me, you're probably not going to get your first contender for 2014 since apparently I can't vote for Labor Day now because it's 2013. So even if we do like Labor Day, and I'm sure we probably will when it comes down to it, we can't say anything about it for 2014 because it's not a 2014 movie. That being said, a lot of Oscar and award content will be continuing here on Pop. I do have, obviously, since it is the day that the Oscar nominations came out a couple of hours ago, and we have the nomination reactions, our discussion about that's on the channel as well. Actually, that's why I was hitting the button off camera, because I was just uploading that. We've got the 4 movie review, which is coming out on Friday, so tomorrow. And we have a new Versus coming out on Sunday. A lot of stuff coming out. We have our reactions to what happened at the Critics' Choice Awards and a reaction to what happened at the Screen Actors Guild Awards. That's all coming out in the next several days. And then we actually get a nice little break until the middle of February. We have the guilds, of course, but we have a nice little break from televised award shows until February 16th with the BAFTAs. So, that being said, if you guys enjoyed this video, then go back and watch the worst movies of the year video if you haven't already seen it, which I'm sure you guys have. It's got almost 300 views now. So, thank you guys and girls out there for watching. And until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all we got to say about it.